Hey, what's up, fam? Thank y'all for tuning in once again. As always, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Hey, let's get into this article. It's from the CNN.com website, and it says Federal Appeals Court approves injunction to block grant for Black women entrepreneurs. Now, real quick, I saw, I guess, it's like three parts to the story. I think I saw the second part of the story a few days ago. I kind of saved it so I can come back to it and do a video. And it was saying that it's this company or this nonprofit that's out here suing everything that has to deal with affirmative action, supposedly, right? And so what they're trying to claim is that anybody that's giving anything to anybody due to race, it's against the Constitution and it should be shut down. Now, we all know the issue here. For hundreds of years, even now, that people, and I hate using the word people of color, but non-white people have been and are continually being discriminated against when it comes to stepping up in the world, right? Like, we all know, to try to get a house, that there's a lot of red tape. Hell, we've seen, like, say, many stores where brothers and sisters who have houses and get their houses appraised so they can sell it, that when the appraiser comes, looks at the house, and they come back with a value amount, it'd be like hundreds of thousands, or thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands less than what the house is really valued at. And it's proven by when these brothers and sisters take all the blackness out of the house and put in pictures of white people with white people type themes in their house, and even have white people standing in for them at the house when the appraiser comes through. And that same house is appraised for hundreds of thousands more, or the value that it should be, than when it was appraised when a black family was standing there. And they had the lawsuits and everything, and they won, and they saw it was discrimination. So the point is, people try to say it's an anomaly. No, that stuff been going on for ever, right? So we know that there's discrimination against us. I know a brother who has a store, a dessert shop down here in a little town I live in. Shout out to the dessert spot. And he told me how it was, an issue he had with the bank that he had been banking with for decades. And he had money in the bank, and he just wanted like a loan to kind of subsidize or, go with the money he had to finance and to, open up his own business, and they wouldn't do it. And he like, man, I've been doing this for years. I've been banking with y'all for forever, but I need money. Y'all like, I can't give it to him. So he's like, okay, well, he went some other route. End up getting the money. So we've heard many stories. A lot of times people try to sweep this mess under the rug. So people come with a solution. Well, shoot, if they won't do it, if they won't give us the money, the finance, the capital, the education to try to start businesses, try to get homes and not be, gouged out of all our money and gets nothing in return, unlike them folk, we'll just do it ourselves. And so we try to do it the legal way, go through the courts, go through the laws, using the tax laws, the nonprofit laws, all that kind of stuff to try to help us get something. And then you have these people getting upset and said, no, that's unconstitutional. And you know what? I understand where they're coming from. Let's see that. You know why? Because they created the laws. They wrote the laws, and they know how the laws work. You can write laws saying that, because hell, what was it? Civil Rights Act 1866, which I think will be one in this article. If not, say something about it real quick. It basically specifically points out that anybody who's being discriminated against, who's not getting what white people are getting, and I mean this is in the law. This is written, saying that pretty much like using the word white people. That anybody who's not getting, basically saying anybody not getting anything that white people are getting discriminated against, things that white people can easily get, them white folk can be charged with a crime, punishable by a certain amount of money, punishable by a certain amount of time in jail. It's in there, right? But for some reason, so and this is like back in 1866 and stuff is still going on. So there is a legitimate reason for them to do this, for the law to pass this. When I say law, like Congress to pass this, but you got this dude Edward Blum and his little organization trying to say, hey, y'all are being unconstitutional, going against the Constitution. And we know it's about race, but let me get into this. So like I said, I think I came in on the second part, because the second part I saw, it said that the judge allowed this organization, the black organization, to be able to give money to black women businesses. So the part before that is the lawsuit was put out there by this racist nonprofit organization, and now it's saying that the federal appeals court approved the injunction to stop this company from getting money. But let me get into the story so we can break it down. It said a federal appeals court has granted a conservative group's request to temporarily block a black-owned venture capitalist firm from awarding grants exclusively to black women entrepreneurs. In a 2-1 decision, that's not a lot of people, judges from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals granted the American Alliance for Equal Rights motion for an injunction on Saturday, temporarily halting the Fearless Fund, a black women's owned venture capital firm, and its foundation from awarding its Fearless Strivers grant exclusively to black women. Now, from what I saw, the grant really says like you had to be 91% owned by a black woman business. So it's not like exclusively, it's just that the majority of the company has to be ran by black woman. And then what also kills me is you can go to one court. How is it you can go to one court and they say one thing, then you can go to another court and then they say another thing, then you go to another court and they can say another thing? That always throws me off. I know it works a lot of times in the favor of the just and the righteous, but sometimes it doesn't. And I know there's no 100% guaranteed way of getting justice and stuff like that, but it's kind of odd that if this court said, but I mean, I know it's an appellate court or whatever, so that's probably their job, is to people bring appeals to them and they look deeper into the situation. Which, I mean, yeah, sometimes you got to have it because people do, some courts, people are people, even lawyers and judges. So, I mean, they could be racist and prejudiced against things. And sometimes you got to hope that you can get someone who's really driven only by the law and the Constitution, to be on your team, to be on your side or whatever. It said the Alliance has argued the grant violates Section 1981 of the U.S. Code, which guarantees equal rights for all people to make an effort and to make and enforce contracts within the jurisdiction of the United States without favor or discrimination based on race. And again, like I said, you look at these courts, it say that if folks is getting discriminated against and can't get stuff the white folks can get, except if you have to be a citizen of the United States, can't be a foreigner, and you can't be an Indian who don't pay taxes. So basically, if you're an Indian, don't pay taxes, you're not a citizen. But if you are a U.S. citizen of any color other than white and you're getting discriminated against and not able to get things that white people get, this here allows you to, to sue to get your compensation, your comeuppance, and go about your business, right? Read it for yourself. It said, quote, we conclude that the plaintiff, AAER, what's that? I forgot what's the name. Whatever. American Alliance of Equal Rights. And when you look on the website, it's not really a website. It's like a one-page landing page that just says who they are. It shows the nonprofit number and that's it. And it said contact us and that's it. It said established that the defendants, the Fearless Fund, racially exclusionary program, the Fearless Drivers Grant Contest, is substantially likely to violate 42 U.S. Code 1981. Judge Robert Luck and Judge Andrew Brashear wrote in their opinion the decision overturns a lower court's ruling last week. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is like, it's been ongoing. Every time I click on this story, something changed. That found the grant could continue because the funding was protected by the First Amendment. And it said the First Amendment, this is like a charitable donation or whatever. So that's protected in the First Amendment. But appellate judges Luck and Brashear rejected that argument in their ruling, writing, although the First Amendment protects the defendant's right to promote beliefs about race, it does not give the defendants the right to exclude persons from a contractual regimen based on their race. Here's what needs to be understood. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm barely a businessman. You got people, I'm not even a business lawyer. You can't put the two together. I'm not even none of it. So there's people that are smarter than me, richer than me, who understand these laws better than I do. But here's what I think I can understand. We know that this country has a racist and prejudiced past. We know it. We've seen it. We see it. I mean, hell, if it didn't, you wouldn't have slavery. If it didn't, you wouldn't need Civil Rights Act laws. If it didn't, Martin Luther King and Medgar Evers and those three people who came from the North who went down South and got killed trying to promote civil rights. You wouldn't have had Emmett Till. You wouldn't have had all these racially motivated lynchings because of white folks being, jealous of black folks having things. We know it's a fact. Come on. The thing is, there used to be laws in the books to where pretty much racism was legal, discrimination was legal, and no one like tried to fight. Well, I'm saying this. No one was really able to fight it. I mean, hell, you can go back to like court trials where folks get accused and white folks get accused of lynching or killing, brothers and sisters, and then they get let off, not guilty, by a jury of their peers. So like I'm saying, racism is big in this country, the history, and still up until this day. But back then, a lot of things were in the law books for them to get what they got. It was just simple. I mean, I talked to an older white lady last week, and I know I asked a question like, where are all the racist white people at? Because every older white person I talked to loved black people. Wasn't prejudiced, wasn't racist, and wasn't raised like that. And I'm like, what the hell? I said, because from what I see and hear and stuff like that, that ain't the case. But everyone I talk to, they just love black people. Okay, that's fine if you do, you do. But anyway, she was saying how her dad owned like a little burger shop, and that, back in the days, white folks come through the front door, black folks had to go around back. You pay up front, run around back, get your food. She said growing up, she didn't understand why that was happening. She was saying, she asked her dad, why is it that the black people have to go around back to get the food? Why they can't come in through the front like everybody else? And her dad told her because it's not legal. So like I said, you should be laws that allow discrimination. But then these civil rights acts are implemented, introduced, and they try to change all that, right? Because we're tired of being discriminated against. I do believe some of the stuff what was missing was the compensation part. That's where now everybody's hollering at reparations. So we got the acts, we got the laws. Now we need the compensation because you still got people that's discriminating against us, but not legally. They're doing it underhanded. They're like, have these scholarships. They have, and that's, I'll get to that in a minute. I'm saying it right now. And that's one thing how you know this AAER companies like just they racist and it's race based, these lawsuits, because they suing like law firms. They have something to do like the Civil Rights Act, not the Civil Rights, affirmative actions in these schools and stuff like that. Now they going after this little company here who's offering $20,000 to black women to help them start a business. Like seriously, when white women who have probably benefited more from the Civil Rights Act of 1965 with their businesses and their homes and stuff like that more than anybody, and they didn't need that help, but it's the way the wording is. And then you can say, well, she is a minority because she's a woman and she can't work, and and so she qualifies, and she's a woman, so she qualifies, so we'll give it to her. My people, you have to start studying those that are in power and those that are against you and see how they operate and do the same thing. We may not can't do it on the level that they do it on, but we can start small, kind of like this company here. They use the Civil Rights Act, like I said, and somehow white women benefited a lot from it. And like I'm saying, the way you can tell that this company, this nonprofit organization is race-based, because really what they're supposedly trying to sue for, to make sure the Constitution and everything is, no one is discriminated against. Why are you not suing all of these nonprofits or these companies that are giving out scholarships to kids to go to school? Because I got kids who have either been in college or in college, and I've always told them to look up scholarships. Hell, I even looked up scholarships for them. I used to look up scholarships for myself. And you got so many scholarships out there for people who want to get in a certain field, people who, you got Native American scholarships, you got scholarships for like I say, 6'1" cowboys, you got scholarships for like swimmers, fishers. Scholarships, if anything, are the most discriminatory thing out there to help kids get education, because the scholarship is based specifically on a certain criteria. That's how you can see this stuff is just it's foolish. But they know how to read and interpret laws to where they can make it say what they want to, and then you got folks say, well, I can understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is right, man, please. But you ain't going after them kind of scholarships. You're not going after that. You're going after people who's trying to help black folk, which is jacked up. But anyway, it say, but appellate judges Luck and Bradshaw rejected that argument in their ruling. Right, although the First Amendment protects the defendant right to promote beliefs of race, it does not give defendants, I already read that, the right to exclude persons from a contractor regime based on the race. The injunction requires a fearless fund and its foundation to halt the grant selection process for the duration of the alliance's lawsuit. The decision gives momentum to the latest of a series of lawsuits filed by conservative activist Edward Blum. Y'all gotta look at this little idiot. I mean, God almighty, he looked like he ain't had to have a friend all day. Either he was gonna do this or he was gonna shoot up the school. So anyway, the same man behind the Students for Fair Admissions Inc. versus President and fellow of Harvard College lawsuit, which led to the Supreme Court dismantling affirmative action in colleges and universities in June. The members of the American Alliance for Equal Rights are gratified that the 11th Circuit has recognized the likelihood that the Fearless Strivers grant contest is illegal. Blum, the founding president of the Alliance, told CNN We look forward to the final resolution of this lawsuit. Remember how people say that the Ku Klux Klan don't wear hoods no more. Well, they do sometimes, but they don't really run around wearing hoods, burning crosses in your yard, and hanging you in your tree. They wear suits. They wear police uniforms. They're lawyers. They're judges. They're doctors. Well, they've always been that, but now they know how to use the law to not put fear, physical fear, in your heart. They mess with your money. They understand this, and we got to understand this. If you want to mess with people, if you want to make people change, you got to mess with their money. As simple as that. Now, this goes on to talk about how this will hurt black women businesses, talk about the Civil Rights Act of 1866, the act, the 1981 act. It says that the Fearless Fund and their website lists corporate giants including Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase, Fifth Third Bank, and MasterCard as partners. Fearless Fund runs a separate nonprofit organization called the Fearless Foundation, where it's a separate foundation now, where it gives charitable donations and grants to women of color entrepreneurs, according to the co-founder and COO, Ayanna Parsons. I think it's a couple of ways that you can avoid being sued and being called out. And you just got to I think our problem is, which is a gift and a curse, I would say, is that when we do something, we holler black this and black that, which I understand. I mean, we have to. Hell, I do it. You have to say, this is black owned business. This is a black owned house, the black owned shop, black owned, bakery, black owned law firm, black owned school. You have to say that because you have to let our people know, look, you've been discriminated against all over. Come here. Come home, deal with us so that you don't have to deal with all those problems with those other folks. Take a chance with us. It may not be on their level because they got more money, more support, more knowledge of what they're doing. We're trying to start up. We got a lot of knowledge. We got a little money, but we're trying to start something. Come deal with us. And so that we can try to create something that can be, so we can get to that level that they on. So it has to be done. Like I said, because of the racism of this country. So that's the gift. But the curse is, constitutionally, you really can't discriminate against people due to race. Now, you got historically black colleges. That wasn't created to keep white folks out. They were created because we were kept out of going to predominantly white schools to get education so we can help feed our family and make decent money and not be out there in the fields all the time. We want the same benefits that they get, especially if we're the one who's pretty much being the cheap labor and building everything that they are benefiting on. All the spoils they're enjoying. So we want to create our own. So why we can't have our own schools, although they were, white funded or whatever. But it's like, hey, here you go. We get y'all schools. Y'all do what y'all please. A lot of us benefited from the HBCUs. Still that, but it didn't say the schools were built specifically for black people. It was just understood that we needed educational buildings, places to learn. But now, that's why now if you look, you'll see there are many like white people, Asians, Hispanics going to HBCUs now. And no one's really saying anything. But because it's not, you can't say that this school is only for black people, get out. Oh no, you get shut down in a minute. Especially if it's, well, not really shut down in a minute, but especially if it's funded by the government. So you gotta be careful how you do it. Now, if you fund it yourself, like let's say school, let's say you do a school like for the Nation of Islam, right? They got schools, Black ran. A lot of time people, you can do things and they see who's running it, and the mother folks will not deal with you, and it'll make it easier for you just to deal with your own people. But if it got something to do with money and making of money, they will run to you and try to do everything they can to get your money. They'll take your money. They don't want to give you money, but they will definitely try to go get your money. Think about that old Negro football league, not football, baseball leagues, and even the freaking ABA basketball leagues. You know, the ABA was like primarily black players. The Negro baseball league, all black players. You know, they say, hey, they got their league, they won't let us play. We're going to create the Negro baseball league. It's simple as that. And nobody had a problem with it until they saw the money that these teams were making servicing the black people. The chitlin circuit, like they say in comedy and music, they had no problem with it until they started seeing how much money was being made with black folks dealing with black folks. So then they had to get themselves in, put themselves in the middle of it. So you got these great baseball players, black baseball players who are more athletic, more skilled, play better, and having fun, and and exciting. And black folks are going to these stadiums and these field houses and watching this stuff and having a ball. White folks like, y'all go do y'all stuff, we'll do our stuff. But then they go there and look and say, wait a minute, see how many black people in these stands? And they selling out and they paying this for these tickets, and these black folks are making all this money. We're not making this money. We got to change the laws a little bit. Yeah, you black people, y'all can come, and matter of fact, y'all can come watch us, but you got to sit up top. Matter of fact, we'll take a few of your players. We'll try to get your best players and bring them over so they can play in our league. That way that black dollars will follow. You see, they have no problem doing that. But as long as it seems like you're not benefiting too much, it's all right. But stuff like this, they see, hey, $20,000 to get to a black business. These black folks are smart. They got knowledge. They know what they're doing. They get this money. They could become millionaires, 10 times over. And we're not getting a part of that. They can't leave us out. Although, the racial wealth gap is so vast that they got trillions of dollars and we got billions of dollars or whatever. A couple of billion and they got trillions. It's like they don't want us to have nothing. And that's the problem. When people feel that you're going to take just a little bit from them, man, they get the tripping. But anyway, real quick, what I think needs to be done. One, your company, your organization can be, black based, black owned. You say, you're here for the, for the black people. But when it's time to hand out money, you don't use the word black on anything. You use the word black and African American, a minority, or people of color, whatever you choose. You use that. But when it comes to handing out that money, you don't use that. You just say it's just a scholarship. It's just a grant. Give money to, you can say minority. Just say minority businesses. Because that'll leave open the possibility that maybe white women can get the money. People of the alphabet community get the money. But when you get the applications and you look at the scholars, you look at the applications and you look at see if it meets the criteria, you say, oh, okay, this young lady here will get the money. This business will get the money. Oh, this business will get the money. Now they can eventually say, hey, we noticed that you've given out, over the past few years, you're giving out money, but they've all been businesses ran by black women. And you be like, really? Well, they do fit the criteria. They be like, it sounds like you discriminate. No, I'm we're not discriminating. We just going by our criteria. What is your criteria? You already know the criteria. Look in the bylaws. It's public record. And well, how come ain't no white people got it? I don't know. I ain't thought about it. You play crazy and they can get upset, but by the time they actually try to sue you in and shut you down here, I already passed out so much money into so many businesses. They already running, and then they can do about it. The second way that you can do this and not be discriminated against is, I feel we may have to get the church back involved in the Black community. And I know a lot of us are on this whole religious and spiritual, the spiritual kick now. Nobody wants to go to church. Nobody wants to be religious no more, which I can understand, because a lot of the way it's been presented to us, man, we're trying to understand it's a bunch of bullcorn. But the black church used to be the cornerstone of the Black community back in the day. Everything went through the church. You had no choice. Whether it was white Jesus or whatever the heck it may have been, who the heck you may have been had on that cross. Everything went through the Black church, or the Muslims, whatever. You had problems, you need to have meetings, you met at the Black church. Whenever somebody's going to go off to school and they needed help, needed money, maybe to help them go off to school, got somebody who got accepted into college and I needed help getting money, you went through the Black church. It has to be, everything needs to be community based. I think, was it Langston University in Oklahoma, I remember reading in one of these books that they want to open up, start the HBCU, needed money. So they said, if we come up with so much money, then we'll get the funding for the rest of it, or something like that. But anyway, the church, local churches, local community, which went through the church, had like bake sales and, stuff like that, fundraisers, and they came up with the money to create Langston University. So I say the church really should be community based. Even like back when people were saying that, there was a outcry to get money from the federal government to help fund HBCUs, because a lot of them are going down, dilapidated, shutting down, losing accreditations. And third, they say, you need like $4 billion. And that would, put us where we need to be. So, we waiting on Donald Trump and Joe Biden to sign these bills, or waiting on them to hand that money out. And I said, look, if every working Foundation of Black American, ADOS, American Descendant of Slave, would give $7, I think, per month to each. Because if you think about it, if a president is in office 4 years, right? Okay, so like if you get, and it's 107 HBCUs, right? And so what's that? 1,207, that's about a good 8-9 years, something like that. But you think of a president in office like 2 terms, okay? So if every working person, I said, gave $7 a month, heck, just go ahead and give it 10, but gave each school $10 a month, or heck, you can pick a few schools and give like $10, to multiple schools in a month or whatever. But if we gave $10 to every school, every HBCU, every month, just each month, give it to a different one, go down on the list or whatever, that by the end of those 7-8 years, and like I said, you give it to them equally, by the end of that time, $4 billion would have been distributed to all the schools evenly. Now what they do with that money, and if they don't, and the schools still be jacked up and shut down, or they done something wrong with the money, they can't find the money, second and third, that's on them, and you ain't getting nothing else. But that's how the community does it, and to make sure that your people is doing right, is done right, and got the opportunities to strive, that's how it has to be done, really. And then you can avoid these racist people trying to sue you for doing the right thing, to balancing, leveling out the playing field, as they would say. I mean, it is what it is, But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Hopefully these judges come to their sense and let these women be able to give money to these women businesses. Now, I've been known to be, on the male side of black male side of all these topics and discussions. But hey, right is right and wrong is wrong. I mean, but like I said, but that's why I don't like a lot of these conversations really when it's black versus white, because we shouldn't be each other's enemy. When you got people with more money, more resources doing everything to keep you down, period. Now, we have to understand that we have to work together. Not that we have to work together so you have to give to me. That's not how that works. It's we have to work together so we give to each other. Because scripturally based, we're supposed to be a blessing to other people. And if you live your life like that, then guess what? Somebody else is going to bless you. But if you're too busy worrying about people blessing you and giving to you, you're not giving back, you're not living right. You're not living right. And that's not, and we'll never, ever get nowhere like that. But anyway, tell me what you think about the story. Leave your comments below and then share it with the world. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace. And I'll see you on the other side.